Committee, actually Vice Chairman Fulcher. Thank you. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Humpton, most of my private sector life was in the semiconductor industry with Micron Technology. And at the time, I'm dating myself here, but Siemens AG was a competitor in the memory component, DRAM business. And so I know that's not your focus. I'm not even sure that they're in that anymore because it was years ago. But you were talking about your involvement with generative AI. And I've been out of this for a while, and you mentioned about the potential to the use of these co-pilots and speaking to machines and whatnot. Where is this going to go? I mean, are we talking about when you're speaking to machines, is this like mirroring human interaction? Just talk a little bit more about this. Where is this going?
Thank you so much, Vice Chairman. And I want to first comment, we did sell the semiconductor business. It became Infineon. Yeah. But today we have a fantastic EDA component. So we're using exactly these technologies to help semiconductor manufacturers work their design and plan out their factories. So it's an exciting time for the semiconductor industry. But the question you ask really ties to the conversation we've just had about workforce. Where is this going? What I'm excited about is that for the first time, we have a technology that actually comes to the people instead of forcing them to go to school, learn more, et cetera. And I'm going to tell you just my personal experience with this. I went to a recent tech show, and my team was there showing what they're doing with industrial AI. And they said, for instance, the programming of robots for a factory floor. They said this would typically be done by an individual who would get on a bicycle and ride along the floor because you had to go to each machine, you had to know the programming language. Instead, I stood in front of a laptop and texted in, please sort the following items by size. The computer generated the code, and the machinery was then commanded to do the sorting. The team looked at me and said, by the way, do you enjoy writing comments for the code that you have to write? It's just it's drudgery. And I said, oh, I hate that. They said, well, press this button. And 5 seconds later, I had all of the commentary that was required to go with that code. I'm telling you, this is going to be such a cool era because, yes, we can bring young people in. If you can play a video game, you'll be able to.
So is verbal interaction next?
Verbal interaction is already here. Verbal interaction is already here. I encourage anyone who would like to visit us at the Hanover Fair that's coming up next month. We'll be demonstrating much of this technology right here, right now. So I think we have the opportunity to see it and be able to envision the future today.
Thank you for that. Mr. Oxman, I didn't know about the word reskilling until I was going through some of this testimony. And I'd like to flesh out your thoughts on the reskilling component here. We've got a lot of middle-aged workers. We've got older workers. Change is always a challenge, and trying to recruit young people at the same time. Talk about recommendations for reskilling, and understand that you're talking to a congressional panel here, so in the sense of talk about recommendations for reskilling and what might be the proper role of the government, federal government, in that effort.
It's a great question, and I do think that the role of the federal government is to partner with industry to make sure that we are working on STEM education and reskilling wherever it can benefit.
Keeping in mind, we don't want to be where we are going to hinder, but
absolutely
let industry be industry. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's absolutely right. For example, in Boise, where ITI member company Applied Materials is very active, they are working in partnership with local community colleges on reskilling to train the workforce that's necessary. Meta is currently investing in an $800 million data center in your district or adjacent to your district. And needs the workers for that data center. So the kind of public-private partnership I'm talking about is the government making sure that local educational institutions have the resources they need and the training programs they need, and making sure that workers have the opportunities that they need to get the skills necessary to get the jobs of tomorrow. As Ms. Humpton mentioned, 500,000 open jobs in the technology industry. We need to find those workers with the skills that they have and fill those positions.
Great, thank you for that. Mr. Chairman, I do have a question for Mr. Kinder on interoperability standards, but I know I'm out of time, so Mr. Kinder, briefly, please. It sounds like, when you're talking interoperability standards, it sounds like you're talking about sharing of data, having the ability to adapt new technologies to improve productivity in the overall manufacturing process. Do I read you correctly on that? Is that your intent with interoperability standards?
Thank you for the question, Vice Chairman. Yes, it is. The interoperability of data, as you heard in all of our testimony, data is critical for training AI models. With interoperability across different software applications, we'll have more data and it'll be smarter on how the whole system operates.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back now. Recognize the gentlelady from the great state of Florida, from the great city of Tampa. Thank you. Representative